Alrighty. Share your screen with an audience. So let's see if anybody pops in here. I know it's been a day or two since I've done a live stream. There's one. I am a couple minutes early. Usually I'm a couple minutes late. While I'm waiting for the room to possibly fill up here, I'm going to keep doing a little research. Wow. Might have stuff to try that. Hey, what's up, Doc? Hello, David. Smitty is back on the air. Yeah, me too. It's been pretty crazy. I haven't done one of these in a couple months anyway. Been a lot going on since, shoot, it was before it was way before Christmas. I mean, I can't recall when the last time I've done one. Yeah, there's been a lot happening. So I don't know if y'all see my little video that I did here not too long ago. I had to make a change. It was time. My body was telling me it was time. And no, I don't think I did, Doc. I don't think I seen it. I don't get on Instagram much. I don't get on Instagram, and I don't get on. I can't say as I don't get on Facebook, but what I get on Facebook for has nothing to do with that. It's usually to search Marketplace to find some stuff. But even then, Marketplace has been pretty crappy lately. Well, hey, Michael Massey. I'm honest with you, I'm really loving the new job. I mean, it's a change, but like I said, it was getting to the point where in GM, working for GM, I loved it, but the problem was is when GM went on strike, we couldn't get any parts. Um, it was tough to get anything done. You had all these cars that were backed up. Hell, there was still a Malibu that was waiting on a harness for an EV. It wasn't an EV. It's a hybrid. It was a hybrid Malibu. It was waiting on the harness for the transmission, and it still wasn't there when I left. Um, but I got tired of waiting. I just waiting for something to happen, and I was blessed that this job plopped in my lap, and I figured it was time. So I pretty much just packed up the toolbox and headed west, so to speak. And I don't think I've been disappointed with the choice. Whole different type of stress. Um, but I'm starting to see a turnaround where I'm getting this parts department back in line. I figured that's probably what happened, Michael. And you're right, Doc. That's exactly what happened. I mean, I basically, my body was telling me it was time to get out of it. And, after 30 some years with an intermission in between there, I figured that was long enough. Um, but I really enjoy what I'm doing, and it's working out. We're, excuse me, we're in the process of, we're in the planning stages anyway. Supposedly, they're supposed to be getting us a new building, which that'll be fantastic. I mean, I can't wait for that. And so hopefully we'll be able to expand my parts department a little bit and go from there. But yeah, in the meantime, this has been kind of fortunate. It happened at the right time because I'm already had a substantial increase in pay, which was also fantastic. But it worked out because first time first time in a long time, I actually paid somebody to do some work on Pops, the Honda. I didn't really feel like doing the timing belt in the driveway. Uh, Done a timing belt in the driveway before, and it sucks. And if I had a rack, it'd be a different story. I would have done it all day long, but I just can't crawl around like that anymore. And so I actually had the money to pay for having one of the guys up at Subaru do it. Man, they did just fine. They've done all sorts of that kind of stuff. Especially one of the techs that I had do it. He's pretty much an A1 tech. But yeah, he did a good job, and like I said, it got it done. Then the washing machine took a crap. The this transmission, this washing machine was a hand me down from my grandma um, when she moved into assisted living, and she was cleaning out the house. She asked if I wanted to wash her, and I said sure. I need something else to use, and so that washing machine has got a good 25 years on it easily. It was a Whirlpool, and something broke in the transmission. It was making some god awful noise, but of course it was right in the middle of a wash cycle, and it quit. And of course it's half full of water and jeans and that kind of whatnot. And so I had to buy a washing machine pretty quick. Um, I actually had cash to do it, which was nice. Um, and so I picked up a Samsung. I didn't really want anything with electronics on it, but unfortunately, that's all you can get anymore. All the things got electronics on them anymore. I was like, well, I'll end up buying an extended warranty. So anyway, we got it. The thing works fantastic for the money, and I'm liking fantastic tonight for some reason. For the money, it was a heck of a deal. Um, and it's got a huge tub in it, so you can wash like comforters and that kind of stuff in it. Works pretty good. Um, so anyway, then the next month, I was able to buy the matching dryer, and I paid cash for that too, which was nice. I don't have to charge anything. I'm tickled. So we ended up getting a new washer and dryer. Um, and then this month, I've got to go buy hay for our horse, and that'll be another probably 12 to 1500 bucks. So I mean, I'm blessed that it came when it did, and it's just proof that uh, there is a Lord above, and they take care of you in the ways that you don't think. So it works out. I mean, I haven't been able to get anything back in the savings yet, but hopefully we get past some of these big things. I'll be fine. But it's uh, it's been nice the way it's worked out. Well, Doc, I only got the wife's fine. She's been working. She had a friend of hers come down for a week, and so they spent a lot of time together. Had a good time. Um, Only livestock I got really is the horse, but he's doing fine, still kicking and nickering and everything else. And dogs are good. Cat's good. Tell me what you do. Well, I mean, I, I can't. I can say I do. I am starting to miss the wrenching part of it again. Um, there's some other things too. Like I've got to get. I really need a new flatbed trailer or car hauler, whatever you want to call it, because our landscape trailer we got is in such bad shape. It needs a floor, and I really don't want to put the money into a wood floor. I mean, I guess it would be cheaper than buying another trailer, but all the screws are rusty, and every one of them's going to break off. And I guess that's not a big deal, except for you got to drill back into the thing and secure the boards. And the Florida sun just beats up everything down here if you don't have any cover for it. And I'd really like to have, aluminum car hauler for future plans. Yeah, Doc. As a matter of fact, both the washer and dryer are connected to Wi-Fi, and it tells me every time the cycle's done. You can actually control it from your phone. And my wife just bust up laughing. She goes, "Men and their freaking toys." she did. She didn't think it was too amusing, but it was pretty hysterical. And she was off the other day, and I was at work, and my phone was telling me that the washer was done from work. It's like, well, that's pretty cool. Uh, she goes, well, at least that way you can tell I've been working, because every time it tells you the cycle's done. I says, well, yeah, okay. Mike, I did look at, I really wanted a Speed Queen, but here's the deal: you can get a mechanical Speed Queen still. The only problem is if it's not for commercial use, you don't get any warranty. They have absolutely no warranty on a on a purely mechanical washing machine. Maybe they figure the thing's not going to break or or anything like that, and it's just going to work, and so you don't need a warranty. Well, that being the case, they wanted like $1,500 for a mechanical Speed Queen. I was like, no, I don't think so. I paid out the door $818 for the Samsung washer. The dryer I bought online off their website, and it was like $749. So it's cheaper to buy them online by far and just have it shipped to the house, which was great. But the washing machine I had to buy in a pinch. So yeah, to get a mechanical washing machine, you're going to pay still. Now they had Speed Queens you could buy, but they had electronic controls on it. If I want a pure mechanical one, I want one that does everything mechanical. You just can't hardly get them anymore. Class 2 draw tight on it. But yeah, it was for the money. I think I did all right with it. I still like to replace the water heater because it's getting up there. You know, the HVAC system in the house is needing to be replaced. I mean, it's getting up there in age. Trying to think ahead, and I don't want to have to pay, put it on credit, but I think the HVAC system I probably will have to. But got to do taxes first. But from what I understand, everybody that's been doing taxes lately has ended up owing this year, and owing a bunch. I'm like, well, that's not exciting news by any means. But at any rate, no, the cruise really wasn't made for pulling anything other than itself. Yeah, most all the water heaters were glass lined, the earlier ones. It was bad though if you dropped it because you'll break the glass inside. And what's your question, Mike? How can I help? You get an old Saginaw 3-speed, and I bet, and you're trying to get the counter shaft out of the transmission. I'd probably have to see it, but more than likely it's got a plug in it that you got to take the plug out, because it'll probably be a cast iron case on old 3-speeds like that. But usually it's got a plug in it. It may very well be pressed into the housing. Them old ones, you really didn't have to service much of them. That's just the way they were designed. Well, if an old 3-speed seems complicated to you, then you sure as heck wouldn't want to do an automatic. Because there's lots of pieces in an automatic. Oh, I can tell you right now, boys, I'm not going to make it very long tonight. I'm pretty tired. It was my Saturday to work. Still highly recommend this mug. This is the 30 ounce. I think it's the 30 ounce pack out. Of course, you can't read the sticker on it anymore, but this mug's been great. As I about drop it. Oh, really? Good. Yeah, back then, Mike, they didn't swap out a lot. I mean, uh, all that stuff was rebuildable. It wasn't a one-time use like what you get today. I mean, a lot of the crap you get today is a one-time use. It's one and done. Um, just the way it is. I was hoping to see my California buddy come out here today. I haven't talked to him in forever. He's probably eating his hot dog. But well, I've decided that I'm going to end up selling my bike. Um, I just don't ride anymore. It's not it's not really practical, and all it's doing is sitting. So I think it's probably better off to let somebody else enjoy it that's got time to ride it. It's a great bike. I don't have time. Um, I'll be honest with you guys. I thought about selling Scarlet too. Um, I've got two other Camaros. I've got one that was my buddy's, and then the donor. And I don't know, trying to thin out the herd. I think my wife's gonna gift her Toyota to her nephew. Um, she said that she was going to do that anyway, and I don't have time to fix it either, and I know that's why she's doing it. And I know that he'll take care of it too, because that was her baby. Yeah, Doc, they started doing that back in the old 4T40 and 4T45 days. The 4-speed automatic that they put in like a 99 to something or other Malibus and Grand Ams. It was after they changed the body style on the end cars, which were the Grand Ams and the Malipus. They went to that smaller, more compact 4-speed, and that's how you check the fluid on those too. Oh, it is, and it's even worse when they're hot. Um, the six speeds, the 6 speeds you check the same way. Well, the Cruise is a 6 speed, but I'm talking like in a Traverse or something like that. The 6T75. Those are the same way, and they're right up against the frame rail. So half the time, if that dude's hotter than a firecracker, which is what it's supposed to be to check it, that fluid will come barreling out of there if you've overfilled it on purpose, which I usually did, because that way I didn't have to worry about filling it up until it runs out the hole and making a bigger mess. So you would usually intentionally overfill it by about a quart, and then once it got hot, let it run out till it's the right level, and get that hot ass plug up back in that hole, to get it sealed off. But yeah, it's a pain in the can. But they figured it was cheaper than having to make a dipstick in a tube. Now they still did. I mean, that was the easy way on the rear wheel drive 6 speed. It was it's an easy way to tell what transmission was in it, like on a pickup. Later model ones, if it had a dipstick, it was a 6 speed. If no dipstick, it was an 8 speed. unless you got into the 2000 or 2020, 2021s when they could still get a 6-speed. What they eventually deleted the dipstick on those too, and you had a plug underneath on the pan in the back, which that's not too bad. That worked out all right. You could fill it through that hole with the special adapter that GM made, or it actually on the right side behind the heat shield, there is there's a rubber dummy plug where the dipstick tube used to go. You could probably still put a dipstick in it if you want to buy one. Yeah, you got to make sure it's level for sure. You get it off kilter and it won't give you the right reading. But yeah, anyway. Sorry guys, my eyes itch. The pollen is out down here, big time. Um, you know, the cars have got yellow all over them if they're outside. Pops has got yellow all over him, and I need to give him a bath. Anyway, I got this humming, and I'm not sure what it is. Sounds like a speaker. Or whatever it is that went away. $295. What the heck's a $295? My friend has a 2019 Yukon. Just had to get the trains rebuilt at 45,000 on an 8-speed. You usually don't have any problems out of the 8-speeds. It was a 295 and not a 292, Mike. But yeah, Doc, that's unusual on an 8-speed for it to fail. I mean, usually if anything fails on them, it's the torque converter. And usually it's a shutter concern. But they usually don't have that much problem. Well, what's up, Scott? Truth Jester. I don't know if I've seen you on here before, but welcome. I decided I'd do a live chat. I haven't done one in quite some time, and I wanted to get out here and say hello, say I'm still breathing. You'll probably have to go back in the video and once it's done and see what I've been talking about. But yeah, I'm just about ready to get my butt back out to the shop here and start doing some tinkering and some video. And well, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. So the software that I've been using to edit videos, of course, I did an update, and since the update, it wiped out my key, which is something that this company does, and it just irritates the bejesus out of me. So I've been eyeballing a new software editing program, but it's like $400, and I don't have $400 right now. It'd be different if it didn't have to get hay, but I got to get hay for our boy out there so he can eat, be fat and sassy. Um, but yeah, so I haven't been able to edit any videos. I mean, I could edit them, but I can't do anything with it after I edit them because it won't let me save them. It won't let me do anything because the key's not active. Excuse me. I thought about, excuse me, goodness. I thought about buying the license one more time for this company, and after that, say hasta la vista. Just have to get another. Um, just have to get some different software. It irritates me because every time I didn't realize it was still in there. Every time it's the same thing. They have an update to correct some bugs and fixes and that kind of stuff, and it wipes out your key, and you try to put your key back in, even if you do, and this is where your key is not valid, you have to purchase it again. It's like, so it's a big ruckus, and it irritates me to no end. And I told them about it too. Big hoss. Well, I'm glad you could use the information. That's great. Eventually, I'm going to have some more coming on some newer stuff. I've got a 6L80 that I'll go through with you guys. Also got an 8L45, which is basically a smaller version of an 8L90, which is an 8-speed. I got that 2-liter LTG engine that I got for a project. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it or not, because so far my contacts with some different manufacturers basically said that I'm going to be on my own with it because they just do V8 harnesses, which obviously this isn't a V8 harness. So um, I don't know. I'd really like to. I think it would be cool because those little LTGs from the factory are 280 horse, um, which that's almost twice what a factory Z28 had in 1982, and it's a 4-cylinder. Um, I've got the harness. I've got both the ECM and the TCM, um, and I've got most of the fuse box. It's going to have to be something that I'm going to have to figure the wiring out on my own. I can do it. I mean, it's just something that, again, it's just something that takes time. But I think it would be so cool to see one of those in a 3rd gen, And if you put a good piston rod and piston kit in it and a better turbo, they're good for up to 500 horse without any problem out of a 2-liter. I mean, that's pretty cool. And with the 8-speed in it, they've got such low gears and first, second, third, that you could leave like a 308 or even the 273 gear that they come out with factory, and you'd have plenty of get up and go. I've got a 308 sitting in the shop for one. So yeah, you could put a 308 or a 323 in it. You'd have a little screamer to have fun, take some weight off of the car on top of that, and you'd have something that you could have a lot of fun with and get gas mileage on top of that. Plus, there's all sorts of room to work on it. I mean, that to me is like a win-win-win. No pun intended. I'm not trying to follow Winn-Dixie, but 2-liter turbo diesel. They ran pretty good in the cruise if you can find one. They're not very common. Um, With all the problems they got with diesels, I guarantee I wouldn't want to buy one. We've been looking at a drive. At least I have. I've been looking at like an older Gulfstream motorhome on a Super C built on a Kodiak chassis. Well, you can get those with an 8.1. If you can find one, that's the way to go, because it doesn't have as much power as the diesel, but it also doesn't have the maintenance that a diesel and the failure rate that the diesels have if you get any kind of moisture in that fuel system. And that takes out that pump, and you end up having to put injectors and a pump and all that other stuff. You'd be 10 to 20 grand in that, you know. Yeah, big hoss, and it is cool. And the fact that it's got direct injection means that they can control the fuel and detonation so much better that you can run 11, 12 to 1 compression on pump gas and not have to worry about it because it atomizes the fuel so well. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, but anyway, this 2 liter was in a crash, and it was bad enough that it broke the bell housing on the transmission. So, but it broke it like I said, in the bell housing before it gets the case, which is that's kind of a light area right there as far as structure is concerned. So, um, I already got another transmission case. I ordered one from GM before I left there, so I've got a brand new case to replace the one that's busted, and I'll go through it and make sure the clutches. I'll just put clutches in it and um, all that other stuff, and then to make everything functional, I'd need a throttle pedal and a diagnostic link. I do believe. See, on a CAN bus system, I don't know if you all know what CAN is. What it stands for Controller Area Network. In other words, it's kind of like a computer network, but it's for a car. And the way it works is it kind of makes a loop all the way around. It's kind of like a star or a yeah, stars one of now not a star, but a oh crap, I can't think of it's a ring topology is what they call it. Um, but to make it work right, you have to have a terminating resistor on either side of that network, so it knows that there's nothing behind on either side. Now the ECM itself has a terminating resistor in it, so you basically have to put another one on the other side. It's a 120 ohm resistor. So if you get 220 ohm resistors there, you've got 60 ohms of resistance. Um, and that's how it knows that that's all that's on that network. And then you put your diagnostic link connector in the middle of that somewhere. Um, I can talk to it I've still got my GM uh, scan tool, and I'm still live on GM, so I can still get to that stuff. Blessings from my former boss for sure for letting me do that. And the deal is that I got to keep my training up, so not a bad deal. Yeah, that 468 was a unique deal on the Cadillac, and that was their first attempt at variable displacement, you know, and it was weird when it worked, you know. It was more weird than what they got out now, but anyway. So basically, that I called a couple of places, like I called PSI, or I emailed PSI and asked them about it. So now we only do V8 harnesses. Says you're going to be on your own for that. I emailed Faster Proms, and I don't expect to get an answer back from them. Um, it's just one of those deals where I don't think they spend a whole lot of time on it, but I would like to. I asked them a question too about it, because there was on one of his episodes. I'm going to have to go back and probably look through a bunch of his YouTube stuff. He had a guy that he had brought in that was whiz at doing CAN bus networks. Because that's the other thing is I can't use I can't use a factory cluster from a third gen and make everything work exactly right on it. For one, the old Chevrolet clusters before 1991, I think it was, the speedometer was mechanical. Well, there's no provisions for that on new transmissions. It's all electronic. So I wouldn't be able to get the speedometer to work. Now the coolant temperature and oil pressure, yeah, I could probably make a mechanical one work on those without much problem. And the voltage, that shouldn't be an issue. But I still need a tach and a speedometer. So what I was thinking about seeing is if I could find a newer style cluster and kind of make it fit in there. But to make it work, it's going to have some sort of communication between the ECM and that cluster. And it's all going to have to be run via CAN bus. So that's where the complication gets into, and it's more one of those things where it's probably way more money than I'm going to want to spend. But I sure would like to have some of the newer transmission stuff in versus the old stuff. Yeah, I've seen that, and I've seen somebody, and it has to do with programming. If you can find somebody that can program the cluster, I mean, if you could get the thing set in there and behind the faceplate, and the right area, you get it programmed into like the display. The display is all one piece. There's no reason why it wouldn't work. You just program it to fit in the hole where it is, and make it look original. I mean, tell me that wouldn't be cool as hell. No pun intended. Um, that'd be pretty neat. That's all I can say. But anyway, well, fellers, it's been great to be on here tonight. No, I really have enjoyed it. I'm glad you all stopped in to say hello to old Smitty. And keep your eye on the prize for sure. Um, make sure to take care of each other and yourself. Watch out for your loved ones. Give them a big hug. Call them. You never know when you won't be able to. So, till next time, God bless you and God bless America. Have a good night, guys. Bye.